Hey everybody, this is McGarren Flack. Just showing you what happens to a jujube when it freezes. This is not very good, but we had one night of freezing. No, let me correct that. 2 nights. So they were down to 36 degrees on one night, which I know is not freezing, but it's pretty darn close. And the next night it dropped down to 32 degrees.
It's frickin' freezing in here, Mr. Bigglesworth.
I came out the next day and the jujube looked pretty good. The only downside is I came back 4 days later and this is what it looked like. So here, all the leaves have gotten pretty hard. There's also, notice, look at that. It's kind of yellow on the ends and then there's this brown line, almost like a line of demarcation on the leaf. And that shows, oh, do you hear that, how cracky it is? Some people might think, oh, that means that you're overwatering or underwatering, but I know I'm not. And when it cracks like that, that just means that there's not any moisture getting to those leaves. So here we are 2 weeks later after the freezing, and if you look right there, you can see new growth. See that new growth right there at the base? That is a good sign. Even though this stuff is toast at the ends, this is new growth. So the tree didn't die, 2 nights of freezing, but this is definitely gonna stunt the growth or slow it down. So if you wanna know, take into consideration is when they say that they're gonna have close to freezing temperatures, you need to know where you live and how your temperature changes based off of the area. So I live in St. George, but I also live close to the Virgin River. It is relatively flat, but it's right there on the horizon. That's the Virgin River, and it is about, I don't know, maybe half a mile to the actual river, but it's only a 3 or 4 foot rise from the Virgin River to my property line. So I'm in the 100-year floodplain for the Virgin River, and so it's going to be cooler here. There's also a nice big hill, and temperature tends to drop down here, and it's cooler at the bottom of hills. So that's a good thing for the summertime, not necessarily a good thing for early blooming and then frosts that are kicking in. So hopefully this update will really help you to see what it looks like when a jujube, this is a sugar cane jujube. My other jujube is actually growing. It started to leaf out just this last week. So after the freeze, thank goodness. I'll show you a couple of other trees that have a freeze update. Actually, I'll just include that in this video. So this one's the jujube. Here, if we go to the apricot, not much change in terms of the leaves, but they seem to look a little bit more wilty. There is a little bit of necrosis here on the leaf, and if you look at the fruit, this thing had so much fruit on it. I was so excited for it. And now after the freeze, most of the fruit has fallen off. But if you look right there, that's what the fruit looks like. It's flat. Here, I'm just gonna take it off so that I can show you. It's flat, kind of fuzzy, definitely no good. Right after the freeze, it was really squishy, and you also might get some mutated things. So I'm just gonna take these off so that it doesn't pour any more energy into them. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, who really knows? But here, if I take this guy, look at the shape of that. So half of it is okay, the other half is frozen. I guess I could have left that on and eaten a 1/4 of an apricot, but I don't know if that would do any good. So in terms of the leaves, they actually did pretty good. I'm getting some nice new growth setting after the freeze, but it was the fruit that was mostly affected by the freeze. And if I go to my other apricot, that one was the Moore Park. This one's the Tilton. You can see again the leaves. This is a young one. This is first year growth. It's already 5 feet high. I grew it basically from the base because I had rabbits that came into my backyard and ate this thing. You can see right here, that used to be the old trunk. They ate it, and I saw new growth coming below the trunk but above the graft. So I let this guy grow, and this is 1 year's worth of growth, which is good for the desert. But you can see new growth coming at the tips, and the leaves just look kind of floaty. Now, if I go over to the grapes, let's see what happened to the grapes. 2 weeks later, this is a better view. So here, all this death, and not disease, but just death. Hear that? Oh my goodness, that sounds so bad. You might be thinking, but Karen, why are you pulling that stuff off? Or maybe you're like, why is he crushing it? Because it sounds neat? Sure, why not? But here we are 2 weeks later, post-freeze, and I'm getting some new growth. So that is a good sign. Also on this guy, another tidbit of info. If you're growing a grape or anything else like this guy, this is called a Harmony grape. They really don't know what type of grape it is, and so they named it Harmony because they got it from a woman named Harmony. And this was out in Hurricane at a nursery, Ballard's Nursery. If you look here, this guy has not grown. Every other grape plant has grown except for this one. So I thought it was toast, and I broke the top, and there's like some black that is right there on the edge. Some mold has maybe killed it, but if you look at the top, maybe it will show it, there's green there. So it's still alive. It's just taken forever to be able to come out of dormancy, I guess, which is not good for where I live because I need these things to leaf out quickly. All right, beyond that, you saw in one of my other videos, the pomegranate. Here's the pomegranate. This all died. I pulled off some of the leaves, and you can look there, new growth. Yay! So the nice little bright green is the new growth. There's not a ton of new growth on this thing, but some parts totally made it. What the heck? That made it, and then everything around it didn't make it? I just don't understand this. But that's okay, I don't need to. It's good stuff. So I thought I'd just give you a little tour, see all the different trees and grapevines post-freeze. Here's another one. New growth, yay. Well, that one was not new growth. That was really bad. Oh man. But I had so many grapes growing on this one, and I have not seen new growth yet. So hopefully I'll make it. But just wanted to show you what it looks like when it freezes and then starts over. So just because it freezes doesn't mean that it's going to die and be totally dead. You can test whether or not it's dead by taking a branch and breaking it like that. And if it bends a little bit like that, then you know it's alive. You could also just take clippers and clip off a distal end, or the end closest to the end. Cut off that area and look inside, and if it's green, it's still alive, and it's just working on stuff because it just got frozen, you know? Makes sense? All right. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If not, watch a different one. I don't know. You do what you want, because I'm going to do what I want. And we live in a free country, so we can. It's phenomenal. All right. Have a great, before I leave, these are the new cherries. They weren't even really touched, just some dryness on the edges. There, just a little bit. This little part did die on this one leaf, but the cherries were actually pretty resilient. They held up pretty good. This is the first year they're in the ground. So, all right, I'm officially done, I promise. Have a stellar day.